What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be revisiting the triple shiny Scyther Evolution 9 team in the Open Ultra League, but this time with all three Pokemon running the newly buffed Scyther. I wasn't actually intending to do it like this because with all three Pokemon running Scyther, you sacrifice a lot of very necessary coverage with this team. Instead, I wanted to run a different new move or newly buffed move on each Pokemon, keeping Scyther on the Cleaver but with Trailblaze on the Scissor to provide more coverage up against Tapu Fini and Swampert for example, and Aerial Ace on the Scyther to give it a much better time up against Virizion and Cobalion, but once again the TM system has screwed me over and I gave up once all three Pokemon had Scyther because there was still at least a new theme compared to the last time I ran this team. Now as you can imagine, this team absolutely sucks, so expect to see more losses than wins, but some of these games were absolutely insane. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. I've obviously complained about the TM system quite a lot recently, so I want to know what's the most frustrating thing about the game right now. Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, lead Shiny Scizor into Giratina. So this on paper seems like it should be a pretty good matchup, but this matchup isn't played on paper, it's played on the battlefield, and unfortunately Scizor is really glassy here, so even though we go for a Night Slash, it's super effective. We only just get them into the yellow health. I'm going to shield an Ancient Power here, luckily no boost for the opponent, and we are going to go for another Night Slash. All I want to do here really is get all shields down from my opponent's end. So we do grab the first shield. I'm probably going to double shield in this matchup because otherwise it's going to be quite difficult to take out this Giratina. And now I can overfarm, go for a Night Slash here just before they make it to the next charge move. And we do actually grab both shields from the opponent. Now they will be able to take me out here, but I'm hoping I've got them low enough where I can Fury Cutter, farm them down with my Scyther. So I'm going to think about which Pokemon to come in with. We go for the Fury Cutter farm down and we get there just before they make it to an Ancient Power, but they've got an Ampharos in the back. This is not looking too good for us. I'm going to go for the Scyther. That actually does quite a respectable amount of damage. We swap into our Cleaver and the opponent has a Trevenant in the back. Now Scyther does more damage this season. Is it going to be enough to hit them? We go for the first one. It gets them into the yellow health. Will this Scyther take out the Trevenant? No, it barely doesn't take them out there. Maybe should have gone for the Rock Slide instead, but the opponent goes for a Shadow Ball. It takes me out. We come in with the Scyther, and if the opponent is running Thunder Punch, this will be game over, unfortunately. But it's just a brutal swing, and now we can make it to the Scyther. Is this enough damage to take out the Ampharos? Yes, it is, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Cleaver into a Shadow Dragonite. So do note that these battles are slightly out of order. I started off with the Cleaver in the lead. It didn't really work out for me, so I did switch it up into the shiny Shadow Scizor here. But we grab a shield there. The opponent's already got me into the IL health. I don't think I'm going to live the Dragon Breaths to make it to the next Rock Slide, so I do actually just let it go down there. Going to go for a Night Slash straight away. I'm hoping this KOs from this range, and it does take out that Dragonite. They come in with a Registeel. Not great for my team, but lucky to see it here up against my Scizor because I can at least hit for neutral damage with the Night Slashes. So we go for the first one there. Unfortunately no boost. We are going to shield this up. They're probably going to go for a Zap Cannon, but I hope they don't debuff my attack, and they don't get the debuff there, so that's really good for me. We can go for another Night Slash. I should be able to make it to a third Night Slash before they make it to the next Zap Cannon, and we do get there in time, and the opponent is going to let this move go through as well. And at this point I don't think I can afford to use my final shield here, so I'm going to let it go through. They should be in range where we can farm them down with Fury Cutters. The opponent comes in with Cresselia, and now this looks like a great matchup, but we are so glassy here. We're going to go for the Scyther before they make it to a charge move, and I don't expect them to bait me in this matchup, so I'm going to use my shield, but the opponent did go for a Grass Knot bait. That's double resisted. That would have done like nothing, and now it just depends. Are they running Future Sight? Yes, they are. That does big damage there. Honestly, I should have thrown my charge move already here, but we're going to go for the Scyther, build up to the back-to-back, but we need to make it to a third Scyther here, as unfortunately the opponent's able to lock on Farmy down, and we do lose that game there. So GG's to the opponent. Into the next game, great lead as we see Alola Ninetales. The opponent safe swaps into Charizard, and once again, this should be a good matchup for us, but the opponent can win this in the two shields, just going straight Dragon Claw, and especially with an energy advantage, they can even go for that Blast Burn there, and then still go for two more Dragon Claws to take us out. Now we have to bait there. We go for the Scyther, and this should just be a Dragon Claw from the opponent. So at this point, I'm going to let it go through. Unfortunately, you're going to see I won't make it to two more moves, so we will full send the Rock Slide this time around, and the opponent does double shield the Charizard. Now we know we've got a great matchup with our Scyther up against the Ninetales, so what I'm going to do is come in with my Scyther and just fully sacrifice it, hoping the opponent would throw straight away, but the opponent very smartly does overfarm massively. They go for the Blast Burn and then make it to another charge move. I'm just going to shield this up, be safe, and the opponent baits with a Dragon Claw. Not ideal for me. We're going to overfarm as much as possible. The opponent swaps into Kyurem here, and I'm hoping with the X's buff, this will be enough damage to take them out, and it does take them out. And now let's see what the opponent wants to do here. They are going to come in with their Alola Ninetales, so we go for that resisted X-Scissor. This would be where obviously running Trailblaze would be very nice, as we would boost our attack, but we are still barely able to get the Bullet Punch farm down. We come out with 2 Night Slashes loaded. I think we won the CMP tie as well up against the Charizard, as we take them out there and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Cleaver into Greninja. So I'm actually going to swap into my Scyther, and the opponent responds with a Skeledirge, and this is awful. Last time I ran this team, I did run Night Slash on my Scyther. Now we're running X-Scissor, so we are completely walled. Both the X-Scissor, well, the Fury Cutters and the X-Scissor, as well as the Return, are all going to be double resisted. And now they can just fully Incinerate, farm me all the way down. Whereas if we were running Night Slash, we could at least threaten a shield, or at least make them, well, force them throw some of their energy. But we come in with the Cleaver. I'm thinking 2 shields up, they're not going to go full sending the Shadow Ball, but they did exactly that. And this is absolutely awful for me. We're going to go for that Rock Slide. The opponent does shield it up, and we're going to be fully swept by a single Pokemon in this battle here. There's no point me throwing here, as they still had a shield remaining, and the opponent takes me out with their Skeledirge, and we lose that game. So that was very embarrassing. Into the next game, we see Scyther into Greninja. Once again, going to swap into our Scyther, and the opponent does stay in initially. They allow us to make it to the X-Scissor, so we can grab an early shield advantage in this matchup. And once again, they come in with Skeledirge. I don't know if this was the same opponent here. I didn't check, but we're going to go for the X-Scissor here, and once again, this just absolutely sucks, but at least this time we did grab an early shield from the opponent, so now when we come in with the Cleaver, we should be able to grab that final shield from the opponent. We are once again going to let this move go through, and the opponent full sends the Shadow Ball. Once again, I have clearly not learned my lesson. We're going to go for a Rock Slide here, and this should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent. So we swap into our Scissor, and now I need to make it to that Night Slash before they make it to the next charge move. They go for a Disarming Voice this time around, but we make it to the Night Slash. We will be able to take them out from this range. And now, what does the opponent come in with here? They are going to think about it and come in with a Venusaur. This is a massive mistake from the opponent. They would easily outpace me to 2 moves on their Greninja, but now I'm expecting the opponent to swap back into Greninja. So we go for the X-Scissor as we wait to see that it definitely was the Greninja coming back in. And now we can just make it to the X-Scissor number 2 up against the Venusaur. And this will be enough damage from this range to take out the Venusaur. And I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Cleaver into Shadow Steelix, and man, Shadow Steelix or regular Steelix, whatever, it doesn't matter. It just absolutely destroys this team. There's literally nothing we can do. We've got like one entire move that is going to be neutral damage up against the Steelix on my full team here, as we are now going to swap into my Scyther. I don't want to swap into my like hard response, even though Scissor doesn't do that well either, because otherwise they can just swap out and it's going to be game over here. So we come in with the Scyther, we let the next move go through, we go for an X-Scissor, we are now debuffed, which is unfortunate. Going to go for another X-Scissor here, and it's just not going to do much damage whatsoever. I'm hoping they do throw their energy, but no, they fully farm us down. And we are going to come in with the Scissor here. I'm going to call a bait, and the opponent does go for that Breaking Swipe, so that is fortunate for me. Earthquake honestly would do so much damage here. We're going to let the next move go through as well, and now we will overfarm a little bit in this matchup. Go for a Night Slash. I don't expect them to shield in this matchup, and Night Slash does take out the Steelix. They come in with a Swampert, and here this would be really good if I was still running if I was able to run Trailblaze on my shiny Scissor here, but unfortunately I'm not. I'm hoping at this point I should be able to live the Psycho Cuts and make it to 2 more X-Scissors before they farm me down, but that was a misjudgment there, and unfortunately I will not be able to make it to the next X-Scissor, and the opponent actually lives that perfectly fine. I'm going to let this move go through, expecting it to be a bait, and it is just a Grass Knot, but it doesn't matter. It's game over, unfortunately. The opponent can just fully Mudshot, farm me down from this range, and we do unfortunately lose that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into next game, we see another Dragonite in the lead. This time we're running the shiny Shadow Scissor in the lead. So we are resisting the Dragon Breath. We go for a Night Slash on the CMP tie with a Dragon Claw, and the opponent actually throws straight away. So we should live this, but I'm actually going to shield this up, because I think they're in bullet punch farm down range, and we do get that farm down, which is really nice for me. They're now coming with Empoleon. This is not great for me. Gonna go for a Night Sash, and we do actually get the boost, so this should be grabbing a shield from the opponent. Hopefully, actually, to be honest, I prefer if they just let it go through. But now we swap into our Scyther, and the opponent over farms in this matchup, so I'm gonna go straight for that X-Scissor. It is resisted damage, but it does grab a shield from the opponent. They're gonna farm, it looks like, to pretty much back-to-back charge moves here, so I'm gonna let this move go through. Hydro Cannon does take us out. We're now going to wait out the switch clock here, come in with the cleaver, and I'm hoping that I can make it to the X-Scissor before they make it to 3 moves here, or 2 moves, sorry. They go for a Hydro Cannon, and we can make it to that X-Scissor. We go for a slight overfarm here. We go for the X-Scissor. X-Scissor takes out the Empoleon, but they've got a champ in the back, and unfortunately, they do resist everything. I'm going to swap, catch the move onto my Scissor, but it doesn't really help me here. Cross Chop takes me out. We're not even going to make it to back-to-back charge moves, and anyways, I don't think 2 X-Scissors would take them out from that range. Anyways, maybe up against the Shadow, but I'm not that sure. But GG to that opponent. Into the next game, we see another Giratina in the lead, and unfortunately, they are running Dragon Breath, so they're dealing a lot of fast move damage with this Giratina. We go for a Rock Slide. It really does not do much damage whatsoever. I found that Cleaver just absolutely sucks. We're going to let this move go through. The opponent goes for a Dragon Claw. We barely hang on, and we do at least make it to an X-Scissor. It probably doesn't really matter at all, because I think we're going to come in with the Scissor anyways and go for a Night Sash to take them out. But maybe we put them into range where we can just bullet punch farm them down. They go for the Shadow Sneak, and the opponent is going to only make it to a Dragon Claw. So I know I do live this. I'm going to put it all on my Scyther. We go in, we go for that Fury Cutter farm down. The opponent swaps into Cresselia. Maybe they're very weak to Scyther in the back. We're going to go for an X-Scissor. That does a lot of damage to the Cresselia. We do have 2 shields, so we might as well start using them here. The opponent goes for a Moonblast and no attack debuff, which is very nice for me. We do overfarm quite considerably in this matchup. We go for the X-Scissor, and the opponent does use a shield, but we make it to another X-Scissor before they get to the next charge move, and the opponent lets the Cresselia go down. They come in with an Alolan Muck, but they are running Snarl here, so very little fast move pressure from this Muck. We're going to go for another X-Scissor. It gets them fairly low, and they will be able to make it to a charge move. I think they're at 6 Snarls, so they're going to be 2 away from the next charge move, so we can go for the X-Scissor here, and this should be grabbing a shield from the opponent, and it... oh, actually, no. They actually let that go through, and we're able to swap and do a simultaneous CMP tie sack swap there, and we do grab that final shield from the opponent. We've got them low enough where we can easily Fury Cutter farm them down. They swap into Giratina, trying to make it to a charge move, but they're not able to do so, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, another Giratina in the lead. This time we are running the Scissor, but this time they're running Shadow Claw, so not that great for us. We do much prefer the Dragon Breath up against our Scissor, just because we do resist it, and it means they're slightly slower to reach their charge moves. But they go for a Shadow Sneak. We do shield it up. We're going to overfarm in this matchup, but the opponent just goes straight for a Dragon Claw, so I will let this go through. And now I will be able to overfarm in this matchup. I'm going to farm to the back-to-back Night Sashes and go for the first one here, and the opponent is just going to let the Giratina go down. They come in with a Swampert, and once again, it would be really nice to have Trailblaze, but we go for an X-Scissor. The opponent lets it go through. That does some nice damage, and now they come in with a Registeel. So this is not great for us. Once again, if we were running Night Slash like we did last time, then we'd be at least doing a little bit more damage here, but unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do. I'm going to let the move go through. They go for the Zap Cannon. It fully one-shots the Scyther. And yeah, 2 shield Registeel up against a Cleaver. It's not looking too good for us, but we're going to go for an X-Scissor here, and the opponent is probably going to let this move go through. No, they actually shield it up. I guess they don't really know what moves we could potentially run. That is definitely the safe play. They go for a Focus Fast here, so what I'm going to try and do is catch the next Focus Fast onto my Scissor. We go for the X-Scissor, and the opponent is going to double shield their Registeel, so we swap. We make the catch onto our shiny Scissor here. They go for another Focus Fast to take us out, and they swap into Swampert. I need this X-Scissor to deal enough damage to take out the Swampert, but it barely doesn't take them out there, and they do make it to the Hydro Cannon, and this will easily take out the Cleaver, and we do lose that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Bombardier here in the lead. I think that's what it's called. I've not actually faced it before today, so we're going to go for an X-Scissor. We throw on the CMB tie as they reach the fly, and the opponent does use their shield. They actually didn't throw there, but it looked like they didn't get a wing attack through either, so quite unfortunate for the opponent there. But we will be able to make it to the next charge move, and X-Scissor will be taking them out from this range if they let it go through, which they do. They swap into Virizion, and this would be really nice if we had the Aerial Ace, but the opponent tries to catch the aerial ace onto their Cresselia, which turns out to be very good for me because we're not running it. Now we can just go straight X-Scissor in this matchup. I'm going to let this move go through. They did only farm to the potential Moonblast, which we do tank a lot more comfortably than that Future Sight, which we've already seen in these battles. But now we go for the X-Scissor number 2, taking out Cresselia, and we can go for another charge move here, and the opponent is going to let this move go through. That was very risky, as of course we could be running Aerial Ace. I did intend to run Aerial Ace, but the opponent's going to make it to the Leaf Blade to take me out, even though it is double resisted. Now we're going to come in with the Cleaver here, and I'm not sure. They could be running Stone Edge. They could just be running Sacred Sword. They go for a Sacred Sword there. You definitely do want to go for Leaf Blade in that matchup because both moves are going to be neutral damage, but we go for an X-Scissor here, and we should be fine. I'm going to swap into my Scissor. I'm hoping they did go for that Sacred Sword, because if they went for Leaf Blade there, they probably could have got a very nasty farm down. But now I should be able to outpace them to the X-Scissor before they make it to back-to-back charge moves. Excuse that voice crack there. And X-Scissor does take out the Virizion, and I'm able to take that game. Into next game, another Shadow Steelix in the lead, and this is just awful for me. This is actually the reason why I did swap to my Scissor in the lead, just because, like, what can I do here? I have to let this move go through. Honestly, I should have thrown before they got there. I don't know. There's just not a lot we can do here. I can't really swap into my Scissor, so I'm going to swap into my Scyther, and they can just debuff me again, and, like, it's just not going well. They go for the Breaking Swipe here, and we are going to go for the X-Scissor, and we will be able to make it to the next X-Scissor, hopefully, before they throw their next charge move, and we are going to be able to do exactly that. So we go for the X-Scissor number 2 with our Scyther, and the opponent lets it go through. We get them fairly low here, and the opponent does, fortunately for me, throw their charge move, so they're going to go for the Breaking Swipe to take us out. Now we can come in with the Scissor here, and I'm hoping I will be able to make it to the Night Slash in time. Not quite able to do so. I'm going to call a bait, but they full send the Earthquake. We barely lived that, but we're just going to be swept by a Shadow Steelix here in this battle. We literally didn't even see the rest of their team. They're fully going to be able to Dragon Tail, farm down my Cleaver, and that was just pathetic there from me. I feel like I had to call the bait though, because if they did bait with the Breaking Swipe, then it probably would have been game over as well. But into the next game, awful lead for us as we see a Skeledirge in the lead. We swap into our Scyther. That X-Scissor does so much damage there, and the opponent going for the farm down allows me to make it to another X-Scissor, and we will grab a shield advantage and get them incredibly low here. So unfortunately, they probably can take me out with just 2 charge moves on their Ampharos here, so that's unfortunate, but I'm going to fully sacrifice the Scissor here. I know it's going to do literally nothing up against a Skeledirge. So what I'm hoping is that we can get a significant energy advantage on my Cleaver to sweep this game. So let's see what the opponent has in the back. They come in with Greninja, and this is looking much better for me now. We go straight for the X-Scissor, and X-Scissor doesn't quite take them out there, and that is really bad for me because now they will be able to grab a shield from me. And unfortunately, because they do double resist the quick attacks, I don't think a Rock Slide will be enough damage to take them out here. So they go for a Disarming Voice. Gonna go for the Rock Slide here, and let's see how much damage does the Rock Slide do up against this Skeledirge. It doesn't do enough there. And unfortunately, we make it to the X-Scissor. There's no point even charging it here. They're going to shield this up, and they do now have another charge move loaded, and this will easily be enough damage to take out my Cleaver, and we do unfortunately lose that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Cobalion in the lead. So awful lead for us. We swap into our Scyther. Honestly, probably should have tried to make a catch there or something, but we do bait out a Shadow Charizard. So I'm going to let this move go through. We should live a Dragon Claw here. They didn't farm to the Blast Burn, and I'm hoping the opponent just lets this return go through, but no, they do shield it up, and they get a very nice farm down as well. And it's basically game over already. I literally cannot do anything up against that Cobalion, so I don't know why I'm still playing this out, but we are going to shield up the Blast Burn, go for a Rock Slide here on the CMP tie, and Rock Slide from this range does take out the Charizard, of course. They come in with a Giratina, and yeah, we're going to go for another Rock Slide here. This probably will connect. It's not going to do too much damage up against the Giratina, and I'm just going to let the Cleaver go down here. So I'll let this move go through. Dragon Claw actually doesn't do that much damage, so we swap into the Scissor, and yeah, I can't do anything. They go for a Sacred Sword there. Honestly, that puts us into farm down range, which is really, really embarrassing for the Scissor here. And Night Slash is going to be resisted. I need a boost to flip this matchup here, but we didn't get the boost. We're not going to make it to 2 more moves, so we go for another Night Slash. Night Slash grabs the shield. They get the farm down, and there's nothing we can do. So I'm going to let this move go through, and this Sacred Sword will easily take out the Cleaver once again, and we do lose that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Charizard in the lead, and once again, this should be a very comfortable matchup, but they can just go straight Dragon Claw in this matchup and win it in the 2-shield scenario. So we go for that Rock Slide, grabbing a shield from the opponent. Maybe could have baited, but baiting is very risky since the X-Scissor is going to be double resisted. So here, we will go for another Rock Slide, throwing straight away this time around, and the opponent is going to double shield their Charizard, and at this point we can't afford to shield this up because they can outpace us to the next Dragon Claw, so we let it go through. Dragon Claw does take us out, and now we come in with our Scissor. I'm going to shield this up, and the opponent does full send the Blast Burn. So now we're going to overfarm in this matchup. The opponent tries to make a catch on the Swampert, and once again, why can't we just be running Trailblaze? TMs, let me get Trailblaze on my Scissor. But we swap into our Scyther here. I'm going to let this move go through, of course. We've got no shields remaining, and I will barely outpace them to the X-Scissor here. But what I'm going to do is actually undercharge this, make sure it doesn't quite take them out, and then come in with my Scissor to farm them down, because I know Charizard does have some energy banks here. So what I need to do is come out with a charge move loaded, and the opponent comes in with an Obstagoon. We've got a super effective X-Scissor coming through. How much damage does this do? It's just not enough damage there, and unfortunately they will make it to a charge move anyways, and this Night Slash is enough to take out the Scissor. They even get the unnecessary Night Slash boost there as they take that game. But into the next game we see another Charizard in the lead, so this time we are running Scissor, and I actually felt more comfortable with my Scissor in the lead up against Charizard than I did with the Cleaver here, as we do at least resist the Dragon Claw damage. So I'm going to go for a Night Slash. They also let that go through, which is a lot better for me because now we could probably just fast move farm them down eventually. Gonna go for another Night Slash here, throwing just before they make it to the next charge move. The opponent does shield the Charizard, we get the boost, and they over farm, allowing me to make it to another Night Slash. Either that or they thought they won the CMP tie there, so we take them out. They come in with a Machamp, I stay in to get that boosted Bullet Punch damage off, and we come in with our Scyther. Now this is really scary. Of course they could be running Rock Slide, they did over farm quite a bit, and it ends up being a payback, so now I probably can live a payback on my Scyther, but I'm going to preserve the health here, go for an X-Scissor. Unfortunately, another matchup where if we ran Aerial Ace, we would be looking really good, but we swap into the Cleaver. The opponent goes for that payback once again. It does big damage. They swap into Swampert, but we throw on the CMP tie, and it looks like the opponent does throw here, so this is amazing for me. X-Scissor does get them into the yellow health, and now hopefully this is range where I can take them out with an X-Scissor onto my Scyther here. So we're going to go for the first X-Scissor. They do have a shield remaining, so they do use their shield here, and now we make it to the next X-Scissor. Does this take out the Swampert? Yes it does, and now I should be able to Fury Cutter, farm down the Machamp, and take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Haxorus in the lead here. So we are going to stay in. No, we're going to swap out straight away as we do resist the counter damage, but they can go straight for a Breaking Swipe, which will be doing some very nice damage to us, and they swap into a Talonflame. Now, I have Return, but unfortunately we are debuffed, so Return not going to threaten a shield. Doesn't do that much damage either, and we're going to have to come in with our Cleaver. I have to shield this up. As I go for the Flame Charge bait, of course, we are now unfortunately going to be outpaced to the next charge move. No, actually we throw on the CMP tie there. Quite risky because they could choose to overfarm, but they don't. They go for the charge move straight away, and they do double shield their Talonflame here. So, sorry, not double shield. What am I talking about? They single shield their Talonflame, and we commit to the full farm down, and we barely get there, which is amazing for me. We can now go for an X-Scissor. This will be grabbing a shield from the Haxorus, and we barely make it to another X-Scissor in time. Does this take them out here? Excuse me there. No, it unfortunately does not, and they do make it to a Breaking Swipe up against my Scissor. And what do they have in the back? Unfortunately, we're never going to find out because for whatever reason, my game literally just froze here for like over 5 minutes. I stayed in waiting to hopefully see that the timer would count down, and then it'd come up saying that you won or something like that, but no, and we're not even getting any like spinning circles in the top left there to indicate that like our network isn't maybe as good as it should be. Literally nothing, and unfortunately we did eventually lose this game after like 10 minutes, which really sucked. So that's gonna be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.